This is a quick Unholy Death Knight PvP guide for World of Warcraft Cataclysm. You may know I already have a few guides on Death Knight, they're more in depth, but if you want everything in a quick and easy video, this is it. Unholy Death Knight is an amazing class. I would probably put it in strong S tier. It has an amazing single and multiple target pressure. It is probably the best healer killer in the game, so it's one of the few classes you can actually play with healer on your team in 2v2 and be able to kill the enemy. That's especially thanks to Necrotic Strike, which was introduced in this expansion. Let's jump into talents. This is the ordinary build. There's a few talents you may switch around. One of them is Rage of Rivendare. You could put your points into this talent, increasing your Plague Strike, Scourge Strike, and Festering Strike abilities damage. Or you go into Bladed Armor, which increases your attack power overall. I think it's kind of the same thing. I don't really use Scourge Strike almost at all, so I find it better to put my points in Bladed Armor and increase the damage of my dots as well as of my pets, who scale depending on how much attack power I have. If you want to go for more defense, however, you could opt for Blade Barrier and get even up to 6% less damage from all sources, which is quite nice. You could also put one more talent in Endless Winter and make your Mind Freeze Interrupt cost no runic power. I think it's enough to have it at 1 out of 2, because you usually want to have at least those 10 runic power in cases where you want to use Icebound Fortitude, Dark Simulacrum, things like that. And if you're tired of grinding for levels or gear, you can use the services of our sponsor at ungrinding.com. Ungrinding provides a large selection of games and services, guarantee of order completion or money back, leveling, raids, dungeons, gearing, and more, providing handmade gold only. Use promo code UNGRIND to get a 10% discount to your order. You can find a special link in the pinned comment. For the prime glyphs, you want to go Glyph of Death Coil, Glyph of Icy Touch, and Glyph of Raised Dead. For majors, you want to go Strangulate, Death Grip, and Anti-Magic Shell. And for minors, you can go Death's Embrace, Horn of Winter, and either Resilient Grip or Blood Tap. You want to have as many PvP pieces as possible. Something you could consider is swapping your weapon for a PvE weapon like Gurthalak, or swapping one of your trinkets for a strong trinket with a lot of strength or haste. Stats, as with any melee class, you want to have at least 5% hit chance, which I don't have, but this character is unfinished. It's still in the process of gearing, so 5% hit chance minimum, and that's also the optimal value. You don't want to go higher than that, because you would be losing in other secondary stats. And your number one secondary stat is haste. You want to have as much haste as possible for your rune regeneration, your gargoyle cast time, and so on. And of course, the primary stat that is number one is strength. You want to have as much strength as possible. You could also gem for resilience, because Death Knights are kind of squishy outside of their Icebound Fortitude, and you especially struggle against ferals and rogues. So going even into full resilience gems is an option with Death Knight. Finally, for the spell priority or rotation, before the fight you want to apply Horn of Winter and of course summon your ghoul through Raised Dead. Make sure that you have your Claw basic ability on auto, and make sure your Leap is not on auto cast, because that's one of the abilities you want to have control over. When beginning the fight, you want to first use Chains of Ice to slow the target and apply Frost Fever Dot. Then as you get close to the target on melee range, use Plague Strike, so you have your 2 dots up, and use Necrotic Strike to use your Unholy Rune, and Festering Strike to use Blood and Frost Rune that will convert them into Death Runes. Use Death Coil in between, and your priority is to use as many Necrotic Strikes as possible. In case of need, use Chains of Ice using that 1 Frost Rune, and use Festering Strikes when you can to convert the runes into Blood Runes. When your dots are running out, you can also outbreak the target to apply Frost Fever and Blood Plague to the target without wasting any runes. And of course, when you're able to and have enough runic power and want to burst the target down, Use your Unholy Frenzy in case you don't need to use it on a friendly target to break crowd control, so that you boost your own haste. Then you use your DPS Trinket, and then you use your Summon Gargoyle for maximum damage. This paired up with your Dark Transformation, where you transform your ghoul after accumulating 5 charges through Death Coil. It's an insane damage. Your defensives include Anti-Magic Zone, Anti-Magic Shell, so you're really good against casters, and Icebound Fortitude that removes and also gives you the immunity to stun effects and reduces damage taken by 20%. You have your Dark Simulacrum, which is new on Cataclysm, that lets you copy enemy's spell, the next spell they cast. You can heal yourself through Death Strikes, but it's not advised to do this. It costs you Unholy and Frost Rune, and it really doesn't heal for much. So it's a last resort button if you're really dying. Lichborn can be used to break some form of CC or to heal yourself if targeted. It heals for a ton, especially in combination with Anti-Magic Shell. For your crowd control, you can interrupt enemy with Mind Freeze on melee range. Strangulate, that is silence. You can silence an enemy every 2 minutes, but it costs you 1 blood rune, don't forget about that. Death Grip is amazing for both interrupting a spell cast or gripping the enemy towards you. And you have Gnaw, which is a pet stun, along with Leap. And when your ghoul is transformed, your Leap also roots and interrupts the target's spell casting. If you want to know more about Death Knight in PvP, how to play it, and every little tip and trick, go watch my maybe 2 or 3 years old videos at this point on my channel, where you can find out more about the class and spec. Thanks for watching, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in World of Warcraft.